Some compounds can make or break the flavor of your drink. Diacetyl gives a beer a buttery taste. Most brewers want to avoid this, while in wine, VDKs like diacetyl and acetylpropionyl can add smoothness. Today, we're going to show you how to test for them with gas chromatography, step by step. To measure VDKs like diacetyl and acetylpropionyl, we first need calibration standards. These are known concentrations that tell the GC exactly what each level looks like. So we're going to start with a concentrated stock at 1000 parts per million, and then we're going to step down 1 to 9 each time to make 100, 10, 1, and a 0.1 ppm. Now from those, you can add the rest. You take 5 ppm, you'll mix half and half from the 10. To make 0.5 ppm, you're going to have the 1. You can make 0.05 ppm by having the 0.1, and then one final 1 to 9 step down from the 0.1 to make 0.01. By the end, you'll have a complete ladder of standards from 0.01 up to 100 ppm. Perfect for the trace levels found in beer, and you can extend higher if you needed. You're going to put each dilution into its own clean, clearly labeled vial, use a fresh pipette tip every time, and make every dilution in a fresh container. Never pour anything back into a stock. Once it's out, it stays out. Now for headspace analysis, you're going to transfer 2 mils of each standard into a separate 20 mil headspace vials and cap them. That way your standards are ready to run exactly like your samples. For brewing, the most relevant range is usually 0 to 100 ppb. For wine, it's often much higher, anywhere from 100 up to 5,000 parts per billion. Having this full set of standards means the GC can measure those levels accurately every time. Now, preparing a sample is very straightforward. You're going to start by degassing your beer by pouring it back and forth between 2 beakers until the foaming stops. This drives off the CO2, which otherwise would build up pressure when the sample is heated in the headspace vial. Once it's degassed, pipette 2 mils into a clean 20 mil headspace vial. Purge the vial briefly with nitrogen to remove any oxygen, then seal it tightly. This sample is now ready for analysis. Now, before running your samples, we need to calibrate the system using those standards that you prepared. We're going to run them from the lowest to the highest concentration. Each standard gives a peak, and the software plots that peak size against the concentration to form calibration curves for diacetyl and acetylpropionyl. These curves act as rulers. They let the GC translate peak size into an actual concentration in parts per billion. Now it's time for the real sample. The vial goes into the headspace sampler where it's heated and gently agitated. This releases the volatile compounds, including the diacetyl and the acetylpropionyl, into the headspace above the liquid. A portion of that headspace is then injected into the GC. Now, if you don't have an auto sampler, you can also inject manually using a headspace syringe. You're going to drop about 1 mils of the vapor and inject it directly into the injection inlet. Now inside the GC, the injector is set to 160 degrees C in split mode. The oven holds at 135 degrees C isothermal, and the detector sits at 200 degrees C. The electron capture detector, or ECD, is highly sensitive, which is why it's used for trace compounds like VDKs. Now, when the diacetyl and the acetylpropionyl reach the detector, you'll see clear peaks. The software measures them against the calibration curves and gives you precise concentrations. For brewers, the goal is usually to keep diacetyl levels very low for a clean, crisp flavor. For winemakers, though, higher levels can add smoothness and body. Either way, you now have reliable data to control the flavor of your product. So the process is simple. You make your standards, prepare your sample, calibrate the GC, run the samples. In just a few steps, you can track diacetyl and acetylpropionyl with precision. VDK testing is just one application gas chromatography can be used for in brewing. The same technique can also measure alcohol content. It can help you build flavor profiles. It can even monitor nitrosamines. Testing for VDKs doesn't have to be complicated. With a compact GC system, it's very practical to bring this analysis in-house. And if you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe. and let us know in the comments what application you'd like to see us do next. Thanks for watching.